Hello, my name is Amy Garner and I help highly sensitive empaths and introverts to create happiness and success. In this video, I'm going to touch on a few things to consider when you're thinking about how to attract more money or how to make more money as a highly sensitive empath or introvert. The foundation of making more money or attracting more money is around changing your habits and patterns. So this involves long-term change. If you're here to make money fast, this might not be the right video for you. In part 1, you'll get a pick a card reading on how to remove your money blocks. In part 2, at this timestamp over here, I'm going to show you some common money issues that hold highly sensitive empaths and introverts back when it comes to building their money, attracting more money, and earning more money. I hope the combination of the pick a card reading on money and my tips on money at the end will give you lots of food for thought in how you can change your personal money situation. If you tackle these core money issues, you may find more creative ways to save money and more creative ways to make money come actually quite naturally. If you're ready to change your money mindset, you can sign up to my free Attract More Money Metaphysical mini course. I'll put the details in the description box below. You can start learning how to attract more money while still being a spiritual, good, kind, empathic, heart-centered person. You'll get 5 metaphysical tools to help you change your money story, reduce your money blocks, and improve your financial situation. You can create a new financial reality and you can get started today. First, a pick a card reading on how to change your money blocks and attract more money. If you like this video, please remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear what you think about your own money story and what steps you're going to put in place today to attract more money, save more money, or reduce your money blocks. Leave me a comment down below. Hello, and welcome to this pick a card reading on how to attract more money. I'm going to give you some messages from the cards that should hopefully shine some light on areas that you can work on to improve your money situation and to either make more money or to attract more money into your life and change your money mindset. Hopefully give you some hope and inspiration and motivation around this whole area of money. Focus on these 3 piles and pick a pile that you feel most drawn to. I'm going to give you a moment while you make your decision. You might want to pause the video and I'll put the timestamps down below. So when you've made your choice, you can fast forward to get the reading of your choice, number 1, 2, or 3. Okay, pile number 1. So this is telling me that, firstly, we've got over on the left, the wealth card upside down. So it's a field full of bountiful corn, but for some reason it's not functioning as well as it should. So this is your potential, and it does indicate, yes, you do have the abilities, you do have the potential, you do have it within you to actually create a lot more abundance in your life. But what seems to be sidetracking you is 2 things. We've got next to it the imagination card, and we've also got higher self there and below that structure. So this is telling me that you are very highly creative, you're very spiritual, and it's likely you have a very strong imagination. And because of that, and being very connected up perhaps to, the higher realms or your higher self, and feeling actually quite at home in the spiritual world, you may spend quite a lot of time there. And obviously having an imagination is a wonderful thing, and you're obviously, I think, quite gifted. You've got, talents to do with your creativity, but you just need to watch that you don't get so used to being up there in the spiritual realms or kind of daydreaming and letting your imagination run riot so much that you actually lose touch with being grounded in this practical, physical, material reality. So I think that's why it's showing the higher self card and the structure card next to each other. It's saying that yes, it's brilliant to be connected to your higher self, to be able to access those inspired ideas, to feel connected to the universe, to the world, to feel supported, to feel motivated, and to see the beauty in the world because you've opened up all those upper chakras and you're very spiritually awakened. However, it can become really problematic, especially long term, if you don't pull your energy back down and deal with kind of the nitty gritty of life. So the structure card there is really indicating that there's a need for routine, planning, budgeting, really getting to grips with the financial side of your life and paying a lot more attention to, what's actually going on there. With structure, it may also be around budgeting and saving, paying off debt, making sure that you're not leaking money, taken by surprise by things, and that you're being a little bit disciplined in terms of how you are approaching this whole topic. So if you can ground yourself and get a plan together and research more into this topic and stick to a plan to sort your finances out, it's showing you that actually your financial situation will change because you've got the death card there. So that's the end of an old situation. It's the end of that wealth being upside down. You're actually going to be able to transform your financial situation, but you do need routine and you do need structure and you need to plan and you likely need to budget and just learn a little bit more about money management. It doesn't mean that you have to lose contact at all with your spiritual side or your creative side and that you can't still connect and enjoy everything that your imagination has to offer. In fact, it might be your imagination that gives you a vision of how you can go forward to not only transform your money situation but also to make more money. It might be that you can make money from whatever your imagination is telling you, inspiring you to do. So it's about kind of making sure there that you've got that balance. And then after the death card, we've got the strength card. So it's really just saying that all you need to transform this situation is to be strong, to be disciplined, to hold your resolve and to be patient and to put those structures in place, even if that takes a while to kind of learn about finances and what you need to do to come up with more of a plan. I do feel like you're very mentally intelligent, and I'm just sort of pulling a few qualifier cards here. We've got the Ace of Swords, and that's indicating you've got a lot of mental intelligence. And I'm also being shown the Queen of Wands, so you'd be ideally suited to being self-employed, running your own business. But even if you're an employee, you are very practical and pragmatic. It just feels like you've got to kind of anchor down yourself to deal with the nitty-gritty and look at the facts of what's going on and not get kind of seduced into just ignoring it and going off into your imagination, which might at the moment feel like a bit more of a comfortable place to be. And it's sort of showing with Three of Wands that you might not be really planning ahead, not looking forward. It might be because there's been stuff going on which has meant it's actually been really hard to plan forward. It's almost like living in the moment a little bit too much. But I think with the death card, that is going to indicate a change of circumstances. And you've got here the Eight of Cups indicating going off to find more fulfillment and really being able to transform that situation there. With the Magician card, we've got the wealth upside down, the Magician upside down. It's just confirming to me that you have the ability to transform your situation. You just need to have some strength and structure around tackling this kind of in a project management kind of a way, and seeing it as a project with a worthwhile end that has a lot of value. So I hope that this reading was helpful. I hope that this sort of sets you off on your path and gives you a little bit of a guidance in terms of what approach to have towards your financial situation. I look forward to seeing you here next week. And if you like this video, please remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know which pile you picked, and also how did this resonate with you and your financial situation? Has it helped, and do you think you'll be able to attract more money by following this guidance? I'd love to hear what you say. I'll be looking out for your comment. And also make sure you fast forward to the end if you want to hear some more money tips from me for highly sensitive empaths and introverts. Take care. Bye. Okay, so this is the reading for pile number 2. So what I'm seeing on the left hand side is the card of discernment upside down and the card of enthusiasm upside down. So this indicates that you may not be feeling very enthusiastic about money and looking after your money, and as a result of that there's this sort of lack of attention and lack of judgment. It feels like certainly in the past you've not been making the best decisions when it comes to your finances. You may have just not been wanting to make decisions, full stop. It does feel like you're a really loving person and you really love connecting with other people. You're very warm-hearted. You like to see the best in people, and that's really great. I feel like you're great at appreciating the good things that are going on in your life and in your relationships, and that's actually brilliant for attracting abundance and uplifting you so that more wealth can come into your life. But it does indicate that possibly because you like to see the best in people and because you're generally an optimist and you kind of trust and hope that things will work out okay, and you feel that the universe is looking after you and protecting you to some degree, that you may not always be discerning when it comes to who you trust, who you let into your space, who you let influence you in terms of how you're spending your money and how you're looking after your money and that kind of thing. And it just feels like there's some boundary issues to do with you making sure that you're not giving away your power in certain areas. It feels as though you may have been under some pressure recently and you may have been feeling really drained. And in relation to money, it just indicates that you've been feeling really torn. It's like if you've been feeling stressed and pressured and drained, you may have just been wanting to splurge or pamper yourself or treat yourself. And what it's asking you to do is to start to put some boundaries in place in terms of your spending habits and also how much energy you're actually giving out. It feels like you're giving out a lot more energy than you're getting back. So there's a need to kind of pull back and really look after yourself at the moment with lots of extra self-care. I'm not sure whether this has been a relationship issue. It feels as though there could be, just because I'm getting love saves the day and all the hearts, that it's something to do with people that you care about, people around you that you really love. But it just feels like there may be this undue pressure on you financially. You might be being overly generous, you might be doing a bit too much caretaking of other people and their needs. You might be treating other people really well, but actually forgetting to treat yourself really well. And there just needs to be kind of that balance around, yes, it's lovely to have that spiritual energy, to be really heart-centered and kind and empathic, but not to get it so that it's so tipped that actually you're ending up giving away your power and depleting yourself, and that will be reflected in your money situation as well. It does indicate though that you have the abilities to overcome any of these challenges. We've got the Six of Wands there. That's actually a very productive, successful card. So if you rebalance yourself and learn that it's okay to have boundaries, you don't have to feel guilty about them, and that can be financial boundaries as well, and just being very discerning about where you're putting your energy and time as well as your money, you are going to come out on top, and you actually are going to get all the things that you want to have in relation to your the people in your life, but also financially. We've got the Nine of Cups there, which is a wish fulfillment card. So I'm just going to pull some qualifiers and see what other messages there are for you around this. I think it's around just expecting a bit more for yourself, to have a few more nicer things and nicer experiences, and to have more security financially, and to be able to look after yourself without feeling guilty. You can still be a really good, helpful person who's making a difference in the world, but you can look after yourself first and lift yourself up first energetically and financially before trying to care for other people. I think that's what this message is all about. Yeah, I just get a sense you might be prone to burnout and keeping going with your giving until you literally have nothing left to give. Feels like there is work issues. You might be generally giving too much. I talk a little bit about under-earning in the section later on in this video. You might want to listen to that. It's like you're being really called to just pull back your energy, use your head rather than your heart. That's why we've got the Queen of Swords there. I don't know if you can see that. And also that if you can do that and be more discerning and using your head and your logic, you are going to get this really nice balance. You're going to get wish fulfillment, and you're going to find that you are not being taken advantage of as much. You're very, very open as a person, and I think that's really lovely. But it's sort of saying that you've got to also be discerning. You're in the physical realm, you're on the earth plane, and unfortunately not everybody has the same pure-heartedness as you do as an empath. So it's sort of saying it's okay for you to not people please, to take the pressure off you in terms of other people's expectations, and to focus on yourself. And I think if you focus on yourself and your money and pull in your energy and actually spend some time looking at your financial situation, working on loving yourself first and foremost, and raising up your self-esteem and self-worth, you'll start to expect a little bit more of yourself and of your life. I do feel like you've got really good friends around you, and those people are going to be there, after you've gone through this personal development and work that you can do to help your financial situation. It feels as though if you don't do this work and see the value in taking care of this area of your life, you're going to feel a bit like you're always going through these kind of burnouts, and that's indicated here by the Tower card. And that's a real shame. It feels like energy just getting so drained and feeling like you've got to scrimp and save and boom and bust, or cash flow issues. But it is solvable. It definitely is solvable. So I really hope that this reading has been helpful and gives you a few pointers in terms of how you can manage your energy and also your attitude towards money, and start to look at this whole issue. Know that you can, with proper boundaries around yourself, your energy, your money, and if you work on self-esteem, you will get what you want. You will come out victorious, as shown in those cards on the right, and you will also have wish fulfillment. So I hope that that was really helpful. Please, if it was, give this video a like, leave me a comment down below, and let me know which pile you picked and whether it resonated, what's true for you, and has this advice been helpful. I would also love to see you here next week. I've spoken a bit more about money for empaths and highly sensitive introverts at the end of this video, so pop along and have a listen to that if you want more money tips. I'll see you next week. Hello and welcome if you've picked pile number 3. So here we've got on the left the card of karma. It makes me think of the idea of karmic debt. I think in relation to this question, it's actually talking about debt, financial debt, an accumulation of bad habits or things that have been happening in the past which are causing you to really think about your issues with money at the moment. The good news is that we've got there the Temperance card, which is about navigating this time, not panicking, not going into a downward spiral, not catastrophizing, and knowing that even if things are coming to a head or things are coming to light in terms of what's not working in your financial situation, that it's going to reach this point where the slate is wiped clean, you have paid off your debt, you've learned all of the lessons that you needed to learn from that chapter of your life, and you're going to be given another chance. What's interesting to me is we've got the Peace of Mind card there with reflection. So the message of the Peace of Mind card is no regrets, and we've also got reflecting. So this is about really saying that rather than go forward and dive immediately into how you've always been doing things or storming forward with your life, it's asking you to look at what's not worked financially. Maybe there's been some mistakes been made, or things have been overlooked, or matters have taken place which you wouldn't want to repeat, for example. And it's sort of saying that even though it's really uncomfortable to look backward on and kind of to review all of that and what has led to perhaps not having a good financial situation, it's saying that there's a lot of wealth in the data. So if you can spend some time reflecting, we've got the lady there just like having some quiet time, reflecting and really taking stock. Okay, this happened, why did it happen, how much of that was my responsibility, what can I change going forward, what do I need to pay more attention about, what do I need to avoid going forward. And it's definitely not about blaming yourself or other people, but it's just about kind of taking responsibility for what you can and learning what you need to learn to make sure that anything that has happened in the past, perhaps a pattern, a recurring pattern that you've noticed happening before, that it doesn't happen again. And you can do this if you reflect. And I believe that has been identified as one of the successful habits, or the things that successful people do. They actually take stock when something goes wrong. They don't rush headlong into life or trying to recover or trying to make progress. They actually stand back and spend that time reflecting and reviewing what went wrong so it doesn't repeat. So it's asking you to do that with whatever financial struggles or difficulties that you've had. There's some lessons in there, there's some gold if you're to really thinking about it. Okay, what happened? Why did it happen? What were the real reasons? Digging a bit deeper in that whole area. We've got also at the end there the leadership card upside down. So it does indicate that you are going to come out of this situation, whatever you've been dealing with, much more empowered, feeling much stronger, feeling on top of things financially, feeling much more independent as though you're standing on your own 2 feet, and more confident. You may have been, because of some financial difficulties, feeling quite low, so seeing your life and the opportunities available to you from a very low perspective, but you're going to be definitely coming out of that and starting to see your life from a much more elevated point of view. Part of that will be because you haven't skipped over doing the review and the analysis of what's gone wrong and why might these things be causing me. Making sure also that when you're doing that analysis that you're not getting mired in self-doubt or worry or fearing about the future or dwelling on the past or sinking down into that catastrophizing. It's really important that you don't spiral downwards, but that you know that this has been an important lesson to learn. There's still very valuable information to be learned from what went wrong, but that any failures in this area of finances or money does not mean that you have to take that forward, that it doesn't mean that you won't recover, it doesn't mean that you won't come out on top ultimately. So if you've had any worries about that because you've been through some financial difficulties, this reading definitely wants to give you reassurance. Okay, yeah, so we've got the world cards. The world's going to be opening up to you once you've learned the lessons. So it's all about really making sure you learn the lessons that you need to learn, keeping the wisdom, and then that wisdom and that reflection will mean that you don't need to repeat any mistakes from the past. It's like you're coming to terms with it, you're getting closure, you're getting that peace of mind. And know that whatever you've been through, actually, it does feel like it was necessary for you to go through that. You might feel quite defensive about certain things that happened or choices that were made, but ultimately you will grow, and you have been growing a lot as a result of your past experiences. And you're going to keep going on that trajectory up to being a leader and to being very much in control. So that is my reading for you today. I hope that was helpful and gives you some reassurance and hope for the future, and knowing that you can take control of this area of your life and you're not going to repeat the patterns of the past. If you want some information about finances for highly sensitive empaths and introverts, make sure you forward to the end of the video and I'll talk a little bit more about it there. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'd love it if you could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment down below on how was this mini reading for you. I hope to see you here next week. Take care. Bye. I really hope you liked that pick card reading, and now I'm going to share with you a Facebook Live I did earlier in the week, just all about money blocks that can really hold back highly sensitive empaths and introverts, and there's 3 main areas to focus on. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more, going deeper and putting in place some of these changes more long term, this next part might be for you. How are you today? I hope you're having a lovely Friday wherever you are in the world, and that you're keeping yourself safe and you're looking after that lovely highly sensitive energy. I wanted to hop on today to talk a little bit about highly sensitive empaths and introverts and their relationship with money. You may feel that you have always got money going on in the back of your mind. A lot of highly sensitive people, especially if they're empathic, I've noticed, tend to be not very focused on money. So they really want to make a difference in the world, and they are very trying to change things in the world for the better. They like to help other people. They're very aware of other people's feelings and needs, for example. But they may find that in their financial matters, they never seem to have enough. They're sort of always finding that something goes out at the end of the month and that the money they thought would be there isn't there, or if they're running a business, suddenly they get a tax bill and they're like, oh, I thought I was doing really well and making a nice profit, and actually I've ended up with hardly anything left. Or they might be worrying about money from month to month, and money issues, money uncertainty, or even debt affecting their sense of security, their meeting basic needs and feeling secure and feeling safe in the world. And obviously, when we're not looking after our money and making sure that we're putting energy into our relationship with money so that we have that level of stability, that can actually lead to stress and a range of symptoms that go with stress over the long term. So, part of the issue with money linked with highly sensitive people, highly sensitive empaths and introverts, and some of their issues about money that I've noticed after working with many of these type of people, and obviously myself being one and having my own money journey over the years, is that number one, they don't really value money or material things, should I say. So yes, it's obviously nice to have money, but money is not like the biggest driver and motivator in their life. It's kind of a means to an end, and it's not that they want to have sort of massive status symbols and all that kind of stuff. And as well as that, a lot of highly sensitive empaths and introverts with either spiritual or creative leaning do tend to have a lot of energy flowing outwards. So they've got very big heart chakra, they're very kind, very caring, very empathic, very sympathetic. And because of that, they often take on a lot of responsibilities, and they can be more prone to burnout and that kind of thing. So this leads to a kind of energy depletion, and that is a bit of a repellent to money generally. I was noticing certain trends about this particular group of clients, the highly sensitive empaths, the highly sensitive introverts, and particularly those with a leaning towards the creative or the spiritual. And I realised over time from working on my own money story, I've been working on it, I think, around sort of 6 years now. That's when I really started to notice a change, about sort of 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. And I noticed that there's 3 areas that we, as highly sensitive empaths and introverts, really need to work on if we want to change our money and actually have more money. The first one is self-esteem. So if you deep down don't feel worthy and you don't feel like you deserve to have money in your life, then you won't be able to keep money in your life. It's a bit like those lottery millionaires who get millions of pounds or dollars or whatever, and then a year or two later they're back to square one. You will find a way of offloading your money or not making opportunities to bring money more into your life, or just simply not spending the time on taking care of your finances and not feeling that you deserve to be better paid or that you deserve to be amply rewarded for the work that you do in your business, or that you just end up chronically over delivering all of the time and it keeps taking you back into this kind of state of energetic depletion that I just mentioned. And what happens then is that you end up being what's known as an under earner. So you may be very highly qualified, very highly experienced, really good at what you do, great track record. Your CV might look amazing, but you never have enough money. There's this massive imbalance, and that can be very much tied up in our self-esteem, and sometimes that has roots going all the way back to childhood. So that's kind of one big piece. The second piece is around money mindset, and this is about really digging into your unconscious. What are the beliefs that are stored in there that have been passed on to you by perhaps your family, your social group, your community, society, the experiences that you or people that you know have had in relation to money? And what are those beliefs, positive or negative? So until we start to do a little bit of digging around that, often we don't know half of these beliefs are actually there. For example, I had a very strong belief that the rich are destroying the planet along those lines. And obviously there may be some truth in that, but having that belief so strongly in my unconscious meant that every time I got close to sorting out my money situation and actually having more abundance in my life, I would end up sabotaging myself because I don't want to be one of those horrible people that are destroying the planet. I'd rather be poor than be like them. So obviously, even if there's some truth to some of your beliefs, it's worth knowing that those beliefs are there, because ultimately, if you don't know that those beliefs are there and that they're tripping you up and they're causing problems in your financial life, the only person that holding on to that belief harms is you. It doesn't harm the rich people who are actually harming the planet. So, money mindset, looking at the stories that you have told yourself about money or that you've been told about money, and looking at your beliefs, and that it ties in a little bit to self esteem and self worth. Do you feel guilty about being well paid? Do you think people would envy you for having money? Do you think people would like you less if you were to be wealthy? Would people think that you were selfish? Would you think that you were selfish, for example? So the mindset is another piece. The first is self-esteem, self-worth, and deserving. The second is mindset and money beliefs. And the third and final thing, the kind of slice of the pie, if you want to really change your financial situation, is the practical aspect. And this is about really digging into the nitty gritty of what's really going on in your finances. And this might be around regularly checking your bank statements, downloading your bank statements, analysing where all your money's going, keeping a notebook or a record, tracking your finances in some way. It's a combination of having awareness of actually what's going on in there rather than ignoring everything and pushing it to the side and hoping it's going to go away. And it might be things like budgeting as well. Obviously, you can limit your expenses going out, but if you've done everything you can to limit your expenses going out and you can't reduce it further, then you'd be going back to the first part of the pie, which is working on your self-esteem and worth so that you can open up and take advantage of more opportunities to generate money and to bring money into your life by changing your circumstances. Obviously, money is a huge area, and I've simplified these things today just to give you kind of an overview of 3 things that can really help you over the long term if you were to choose that, right, I really want to sort out my money long term. But those 3 areas I've worked on over the last 6 years, and I've found that my financial situation has completely changed for the better, thankfully. And I just wanted to hop on and give you those pointers today, and also say that if you're interested in perhaps doing a bit of exploration around your subconscious, your beliefs around money, and looking at some kind of interesting tools, metaphysical tools to have an experiment with as you dip your toe into this water, there is a mini course, a metaphysical mini course on my website. If you go to the sign up button on this Facebook page and click the link, it will take you to helloamygarner.com/free, and you'll see halfway down there's a link to my blog. And on my blog, you'll find a free mini course called Attract More Money Metaphysical Mini Course. And you can sign up and you'll be drip fed 5 lessons and 5 resources that you can start to help to chip away at some of your perhaps beliefs that have been hidden in the unconscious around money, which are sabotaging you, undermining you, and tripping you up in this area. So I hope that was helpful today. I'm sending you lots of love. I hope that you feel motivated to work on your money as a highly sensitive empath and introvert. And I'll see you very good. I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye. I really hope you liked this video today. It's been a pleasure making it. And if you like more resources, please go over to my website, helloamygarner.com/free. And there's lots of free stuff on there for highly sensitive empaths and introverts just like you. I hope to see you here again next week, and I'm sending you lots of love. Take care. Bye.